Humorist Dave Barry once said this about Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving is that very special holiday when we take a break from our hectic, everyday lives to spend quality time with our loved ones, rediscovering all the reasons why we're glad we don't actually live with them. I don't know what your day will be like, whether you will be with your family, have to go to work after this, go home alone. Whatever, for each of us, this day will not be perfect. There will be, as is true for each day, a certain amount of chaos or letting go woven into the countless blessings. And some things will go wrong. You know, if you have a meal with others, someone will forget something that they're supposed to bring or burn it. Probably more family tensions than usual this Thanksgiving. Someone might get on their high horse about politics. Someone will be texting during the meal or leave early. Or things won't go quite like you thought. And there are those for whom, and I think it's amazing if you're here, there's an empty place at table this year where you're far from home. And yet, you are here. It strikes me that I really don't need to say much today because you already get it. In the mix of everything else, you came to give thanks. Like the one leper who returned to give thanks, you already see and you understand the importance of stepping out of the normal space and going back to give thanks. For getting that, for understanding, thank you. I could also argue that on another level, even as we are here, it's still good that we are extra intentional about trying to remember again. Even, each day is so hectic and there are so many things that tug on our hearts and attention that even while we're here for Mass, we might be jumping ahead to the next thing and we can kind of forget a little bit. So in case this is of any help, I'm going to offer 3 questions and a moment to think about your answer to those questions. If this is not helpful at all, that's fine. Think about Thanksgiving dinner. Each time I'll give a little bit of a moment to reflect. I'll put a little music on in the background, and I'll invite you just to use your reflection. So if you are a person who likes to do this, go ahead and close your eyes. The music is just to help give you a sense of being in a different place. If I close my eyes, I'd fall asleep. So if it's helpful for you to keep them open, you can look at the candle or whatever. Take a few good breaths. You can become aware of being alive, of having a body, of being you, of being here. First, I invite you to think of this. If you had a chance to say a word of thanks to someone you love who has died, who pops into your brain to say thanks to? A parent, a teacher, friend? Who would you thank? What would you thank them for? Maybe they believed in you, taught you something important. Perhaps they forgave you or welcomed you back. And if this works for you, and you pictured yourself in a safe place maybe, somehow let that person be there and go ahead and say what's on your heart. With or without words, take a moment to say thanks. secondly, I invite you to think of this. If you had a chance to say a word of thanks to someone living or a person or two, who pops into your brain to say thanks to? Maybe you've already thanked this person many times, maybe not. Who might you thank? What would you thank them for? Maybe take a moment and imagine them and say what's on your heart to them now. Finally, this. If you were face to face with Jesus today, or somehow knew that you were just in the presence of God, what pops into your heart to say thanks to God for? What do you think of? If this day you could tell God thanks for anything, what might you say thanks to God for? Maybe go ahead and say that now. At this time, if you close your eyes, I invite you to open them again. I know that some people use imagination like that more readily than others. If there was any blessing that, I'm glad. If that was difficult or you fell asleep, that's all right. It's still true that we have many reasons for which to be grateful. People that are worthy of our thanks. And as we leave here, I don't know the mixture it will hold, right? Things probably won't go exactly as we pictured. But isn't it right that in the mix of that, we still are people who would pause to give thanks? To see a little more clearly this day, the God who shows up in the blessed mess, the mixture that is our lives. And as best as we can, you and I are invited again this day to see and treasure the simple, ordinary moments, because they hold God.